Back again, my name is Israel Sampson. This is part 5 of the lesson called Salvation Belongs to the Children of Israel, not the other nation. I have did my last part 4 about how why ignore this law, but why call yourself a law keeper? Don't get me wrong. I know it's our purpose though, but I'm guaranteed though, I'm going to obey all the laws the best way I can, including this law. So let's read verse 2 again. When the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, and thou shalt smite them, and utterly destroy them, thou shalt not make no covenant with them, nor show mercy to them, right? So you can't even be friends with them. That's a covenant. If you can't marry them, what makes you think you can be friends with them? What makes you think you can save them and the Lord never make no covenant with them? They don't have no salvation. You know what I'm saying? So, before I even go to Jubilees chapter 30, I just want to read this right quick, get this out the way. So I'm going to go to Jubilees chapter 22 and verse 16 through 18. Because many brothers I hang around with, and they claim that these other nations can be saved, but they got a couple other people, they got a couple white people in their congregation, but they claim to keep the laws, but they're not doing what the Lord is supposed to do. Simple as that, because what did Jesus say? He said, if you be faithful to the littlest things, I will make you ruler over many. And they can't even be faithful to the littlest things like this, man. because they want everybody to feel good. But really, you hurt yourself, you hurting our people. So I'm going to go to the book of Jubilees, chapter 22, and I'm going to start at verse 16. I mean, don't worry, we're going to get to the good stuff. We will get to the good stuff. But I just want to work my way up so y'all can understand the whole lesson. So Jubilees chapter 22 and verse 16. It says, and do thou, my son Jacob, remember my words. When he said my son Jacob, he's speaking to all 12 tribes as a nation, right? And observe the commandments of Abraham and thy father. He said, and listen to this right here. He says, separate thyself from the nations, eat not with them, and do not accord to their works, and become not their associates. Wait a minute. The Lord said, don't even eat around them. Why y'all have these people, why you got these other nations come to our feast? And not just that, why y'all hang around these folks, man? After the Lord said, don't be their associate. We can't even be their friends. Because the Lord said, I will scatter you in the land of your enemies. So why is y'all trying to be friends with the devil? Your enemies. If y'all going to do that, then y'all might as well go ahead and worship Satan the devil. And y'all might as well go ahead and worship the demons and have them be your God since y'all want to disobey God's commandments. Since y'all want to be friends with everybody around the world, and these are Satan's seed, but the Lord said, do not eat with them and do not be around them as your associates. Let me read those verses again. He says, separate thyself from the nations and eat not with them, and do not accord to their works and become none of their associates. For their works are unclean, and all their ways are pollution, and an abomination of cleanness. It don't matter how much holy they try to be. They stood in abomination. Their ways is pollution. Whatsoever. Why? Because, like for example, we got white people in the house of Jacob, and especially ones in these camps that they under the house of Jacob, whatever, they got white people teaching Israel. And they works is still pollution because they still relying on the Lord. After the Lord said don't be around these other nations. And these camps come in and keep the commandment. And not just the house of Jacob I used to go to, but all the other camps as well who's part of 501c3. But the point is that the Lord said we need to keep these commandments. That's the reason why we in slavery right now. Because we breaking God's laws and try to establish our own righteousness, and our own righteousness is filthy as rags according to the Bible. But the Lord said don't eat around them. He said their ways are pollution. It don't matter how nice they are. It don't matter how much they want to be taught by the Bible. Their ways always going to be pollution. Remember, Satan also knows the whole Bible better than me. Ain't any of these elders out here. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to keep on going. And it said, and their ways are pollution and abomination and uncleanness. And you know what I'm saying? Then it says right here, verse 17. They offer sacrifice to the dead, and they worship evil spirits. They eat the graves, they eat over the graves, and their works are vanity and nothingness. And they do eat over graves, man. They eat nasty stuff. Why did the Bible say, why did the Lord told the children of Israel, and I believe in the book of Deuteronomy 14, he told the children of Israel, and this is a perfect example, he said to the children of Israel, if you find anything died of itself, it could be clean or unclean, we mean by anything, he said, do not touch it, do not eat it, because you are a holy people to me, right? But he said, if it be a stranger or alien or anybody from another nation, you can sell it to them. You can sell it to them and let them eat it. That is cold. So why the Lord told us not to eat it, but he said these other nations who's not Israel to eat it? Why is that? Because they not his people. Point blank. So the point is, though, that the only way for us to get salvation, we need to keep these commandments and come back to the Lord, so that way when he does return, we can be back in the kingdom. Because he said it himself, you read Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 1 through 6, he tell you, if you remember my commandments in the land where you at, then not just I'm going to bring you back or forgive you, but I'm also going to bring you back and gather you from all the land I have scattered you, back into the land I swore to your fathers, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And we need to start keeping these commandments and start playing church, y'all. And verse, in verse 18, and they had no heart to understand, and their eyes do not see when their works are. And they erred and said to a piece of wood, and thou art my God, and to the stone, that thou art my Lord, and thou art my deliverers. And they had no heart. And that's how these other nations are. Look at the Chinese. They bow down to the damn statue of rock. Then you got the Catholics bow down to the fake white Jesus and the cross. Then here we go as us Negroes, so-called the Israelites, so-called black men and black women, we try to man up these other nations. We try to be like them. We try to worship their religion. We try to spread that lies, that Babylonian doctrine, that everybody can be saved and Lord loves everybody. And in the scriptures, he does not say that. And the sad thing is, though, it doesn't matter how much you tell these Gentiles, these other nations, who these camps try to bring in. You tell what the Bible say, cutthroat, they would not have a heart to understand. Point blank. So the Lord says, stay away from these other nations. Now I'm going to go back to the book of Jubilees, chapter 30. I'm just rereading this so we can refresh what we talked about in the last part. Jubilees, chapter 30. And verse 7. I'm going to start at verse 7. Book of Jubilees, chapter 30, and verse 7. And by the way, Jubilees is part of the Bible. And for some of your 501c camps, 501c3 camps, talking about that's not part of the Bible. It was part of the Bible. Because when you go back into the Hebrew scroll, it wasn't no such thing as King James. It wasn't even a letter J back then. And before King James even published a Bible, it was a Hebrew Bible. And the Hebrew Bible not just had just 66 books, but they had all the Dead Sea Scrolls was built up in that Hebrew book. And to this day, they still got over there somewhere in a Jewish security place in the middle of Israel, and they got all the books that they took out of the 66 books in the Bible. And not just that, do your history. Don't go just read any history online and you read the first thing they tell you, well, the book of Jubilee is not mentioned in the Bible. They want you to be deceived. And they say the same thing about the Apocrypha. But when you read these books, it is very accurate what this Bible says. In the Spirit, the Lord's going to show you for anybody who's discerned. So I'm going to go to the book of Jubilees, chapter 7, and chapter 30 and verse 7. Jubilees, chapter 30, verse 7. It says, he said, let me read this. It says, verse 7, it says, if there is any man who wishes in Israel to give his daughter or his sister or to any man of the seed of the Gentiles, he should certainly die. And they should stone him with stones, and because he wrought shame in Israel. And they shall burn the woman with fire, and because she has dishonored the name of the house of her father, and she shall be rooted out of Israel. Let not the adulteress and no uncleanness be found in Israel throughout the days of the generations of the earth. That comes today because we still are the citizens of Israel, so we still are the generations of the earth. Point blank. And you know the funny thing is, he said, let not an adulteress or uncleanness be found among Israel. So it is uncleanness, it is an adulteress, and it is an abomination for any male or female of Israelites to be outside their race. The only reason I read this is because this is the law. And this is one of the laws we broke, and this is the ones we got our butts kicked out the land. That's why I'm reading, just in case y'all wondering. And verse 9. Actually, and then they should stone with stones. Man, hold on, let me go back. He said, let not the adulterers and uncleanness be found in Israel throughout all the days and the generation of the earth. For Israel is holy unto the Lord, and every man who is defiled shall certainly die. They shall stone him with stones. For this has bring a day and written in the heavy tablets and written in all the seed of Israel. He who defiles it shall certainly die, and he shall be stoned with stones. And to this law there is no limit of days, no remission, no atonement, but man who has defiled his daughter shall be rooted out of the midst of all Israel. This is some serious stuff, like I said in my last part, right? Because he is giving his seed. Wait, let me read it again. I'm sorry. Because he has given his seed to Moses and walk in purity, so it is defiled it. So the one who said in marriage and all that stuff, like he sacrificed your kids to Moses. That's abomination right there. And do thou, Moses, command the children of Israel, and exhort them not to give their daughters to the Gentiles, and not take their sons and any of the daughters of the Gentiles? We just read that Deuteronomy chapter 7, right? In the book of Jubilees chapter 22 and verse 8, well, actually verse 18 and 19, or 17 and 19. And for this is an abominable before the Lord. For this is the reason why I have written for thee the words of the law and all the deeds of the Shechemites which they walked against Diana. And now the sons of Jacob spake a saying, we will not give our daughters to men who is uncircumcised. And, but the thing is, the Lord said, don't marry outside your people, period. And for that word approach unto us, because you gotta understand, because with that Shechemite have raped one of Jacob's daughters, that was a shameful thing right there. And that's why Levi and Shimei went and destroyed the whole city. And that was a righteous thing. Because when you read the book of Joshua about it, and if you read the book of Jubilees about it, the Lord had delivered the city to the hands of Levi and Shimei, because it was a righteous judgment for what they did, destroy their whole city for defile their sister like that. And how the sons of Jacob spake and saying, now I read that already. Now let me see. And it says right here, it is a reproach to Israel, to those who live, and to those that take the daughters of the Gentiles. For this is unclean and abominable to Israel. And Israel will not be free for this uncleanness if it has a wife of the daughters of the Gentiles, or giving any of his daughters to the man who is any of the Gentiles. When he said any of the Gentiles, he's talking about all the other nations, not Israelites. Point blank. For there will be a pledge upon pledge, and curse upon curse. And every judgment and every pledge and curse will come. And he will do this thing, and hide his eyes from those that committed uncleanness, and those who defile the sanctuary of the Lord, those who profane his holy name. Then will the whole nation together be judged for the uncleanness and partnation of this man. And there will be no respect of person, no consideration of the persons, nor receive at his hands fruits and offerings of burnt offerings of fat, nor fragrance and sweet savor, so as to accept it. And every man and woman in Israel who defiles the sanctuary, for this reason I commanded you, saying, I testify to Israel, see that. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. So pretty much the Lord said, don't do it. We are not allowed to do it. Not to be associated with them, not to make no covenant with them, not to marry, and not to be around these other nations in the world. If y'all can't see that how these cops is killing our people, and they try to let you know some kind of way, your God telling y'all to stay away from us. If y'all don't, we're going to kill you. If y'all can't see that's what be the case to be going on, then y'all blind, and more likely y'all killing yourselves right there. And pretty much suicide right there. And let me see if I messed up a verse, because it's written, the verse is written different in the book. Let me see. Excuse me, let me see. Where it says it is no limit of days. And this thing is serious, because the Lord said anybody who does this will be put to death. Ain't going to be no forgiveness. Oh yeah, it says in this law there is no limited days. So it is no limited days in this law. So that means it don't matter if it was yesterday or 1,000 years ago. A lot of people be like, well, it's 2014, we can do this. No, you can't do it, because the Bible says there is no limited days. That means that you have to keep the laws and stay away from these other nations, point blank. Now, and I explained that, and I hope somebody got that understanding what I talked about in my last part. So I'm going to move on. So what happens after King Solomon committed sin? The Lord split the kingdom into two nations, right? Because I read that, because I explained it to y'all the last part in my lesson. So what happened after the split? Because we know that after the split, the house of Judah and the house of Israel hate each other. And that was part of the curse that the Lord spoke of in the book of Deuteronomy, how the brother and his eyes will used to have be tender-eyed, will have hate towards his own brother. You know what I'm saying? And so more likely that was a curse taking place too. And not just that, but Israel as a nation being split to two kingdoms, that was a curse too. So we'll look at what happened to the house of Judah and the house of Israel at the split. So I want to start in the book of 1 Kings chapter 12 and verse 19 through 24. In the book of 1 Kings chapter 12 and verse 19 through 24. Book of 1 Kings chapter 12 verse 19 to 24, it says, and Israel rebelled against the house of David, which is the house of Judah, and to this day. It came to pass when Israel heard that Jeroboam was come again, and they sent and called him into the congregation and made him king over all Israel. There was none that followed Judah, the house of David, but the tribe of Judah only. And when Rehoboam was come to Jerusalem, he assembled all the house of Judah with the tribe of Benjamin, and 180,000 chosen men, which were warriors, and to fight against the house of Israel, to bring the kingdom again to Rehoboam, the son of Solomon. Because Rehoboam was the son of Solomon, and that was the house of the house of Judah was given to him, right? And not just that, because he wanted to go fight the house of Israel because they rebelled against him. And not just that, they tried to take over all the kingdoms. Now let's skip down to, let's keep on reading. Let me see, verse 22. But the word of the Lord came to Shimei, the man of God, saying, speaking to Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, the king of Judah, and to all the house of Judah and Benjamin, and to the remnant of the people, saying, thus says the Lord, ye should not go up and nor fight against your brother, the children of Israel, and return every man to his house, for this thing is from me. And they hearkened therefore unto the word of the Lord, and returned and depart according to the word of the Lord. So the way the Lord has set it up like that, because I really believe that the house of Judah has sinned against the Lord, and the Lord had used the house of Israel to try to fight against them for what they had done. But instead of just do that, they went overboard, right? So we're going to read it. So let's go to the 2 Kings chapter 15 and verse 27 to 28. It's only two verses. 2 Kings chapter 15. 2 Kings chapter 15 and verse 27 to 28. 2 Kings chapter 2 Kings chapter 15 verse 27 to 28. It says, in the 5th year of Azariah, the king of Judah, and Pekah, the son of Remaliah, began to reign over Israel in Samaria, which raged 20 years. And he did which was evil in the sight of the Lord, and he departed not from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, which made Israel to sin. This is the house of Israel, right? So that's what happened. So he did not repent of the sins what Jeroboam had caused the Israel to sin. And you had the next king who ran the house of Israel, did the same thing, followed his footsteps like his father did. So what happened after that? So let's go to 2 Chronicles. The book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 28. Like I said, I'm explaining the history, what happened between the house of Judah and the house of Israel. 2 Chronicles, chapter 28, in verse 6, then we're going to skip down to verse 8 through 11. So we're going to go to 2 Chronicles, chapter 28, and verse 6. We're going to start at verse 6. We're going to read what actually happened. It's going to tell you the whole thing, and it was messed up how they did it. The house of Israel, what they did to the house of Judah. Because the Lord had raised up the house of Israel to do a mission, because he just told the house of Judah that what they doing, it came from me. In the book of 1 Kings chapter 12, verse 19 and 24. And Judah went back home. But the Israel supposed to do what the Lord said to do, the house of Israel. But instead, they went overboard, and we're going to read about that. And that's one of the reasons they got kicked out. So, in the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 28, I'm going to start at verse 6. For Packet, the son of Remelah, excuse the name, slew in Judah in 120,001, and which were all valid men, because they had forsaken the Lord God of their fathers. So it tells you he had slew the men of Judah because they had forsaken the Lord. You know what I'm saying? They had sinned, and the Lord was using the house of Israel to punish them. But instead of just do what the Lord said to do, they went overboard, and we're going to read it. And verse 8, and the children of Israel carried away captives of their brother 200,000 women, sons, daughters, and took also away much spoil from them, and brought the spoil to Samaria. They went overboard right there. Not just they had to kill their own brother, but they took their women, they took their daughters and sons, their cattle, they took it back to Samaria, which is the house of Israel, which is the capital of the northern kingdom, because that's what the tribe of Ephraim ruled from the kingdom of Ephraim, which is in Israel at that time. And when he took back his spoils, the women, children, and everything that the men of the house of Judah with, they took them as slaves. And that was bad right there, because we're not supposed to do that. But that was part of the curse the Lord spoke of in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28. I believe it was verse 55. Like I said, how the brother who used to be tender out of wood had hate towards his brother. They went overboard right there. Because the Bible said we are not supposed to slave our own people, man. That's a sin right there. And we the kingdom of priests. Now, verse 9. But the prophet of the Lord was there, whose name was Odad. And he had went up before the host and came to Samaria and said unto them, Behold, because the Lord your God, the fathers was wroth with Judah, he hath delivered into your hand. And you have slain them in a rage that reached to heaven. So they did it in a rage. Just like that same rage that Esau had against Jacob. They slew the house of Judah with rage. They didn't do it like a righteous thing. Like for example, we as parents, we will whoop our child's butt out of discipline and love when they cut up like that. That's how they're supposed to punish the house of Judah for their sins at that time. But instead of doing that, they did it out of rage and pride and out of evil intent for themselves. And it reached God, and the Lord like, whoa, what the hell y'all doing? That's not what I had in mind, and that's not what I told y'all to do. And the house of Israel did what they wanted to do. So they pissed the Lord off, and he kicked them out. But we're going to read the rest of it. So verse 10. Two more verses. One more verse after this. And now you propose to keep under the children of Judah in Jerusalem for bondmen and bondwomen unto you, but they're not with you, even to your sins against the Lord your God. Why? Because the Lord told the children of Israel, which is in the commandment, the first 4 books, we're not supposed to put each other in slavery. We ain't supposed to hold a grudge against that neighbor. Against that brother, the people of, that people. And the Lord told Moses, don't hold a grudge against that people. The children of your people is in the book of Leviticus, and they broke that law. And because of that, the Lord was pissed off about that. He didn't like it one bit how they carried out his mission. They failed that mission horribly. And this is the house of Israel. In verse 11, and now hear me therefore, and deliver the captives again, which you had take captives of your brother, for the fierce wrath of the Lord is upon you. And this is Odad warning to look. If you don't return these men and women and children back to the Judah, some of the men who survived, the Lord's wrath is about to be upon you. Matter of fact, the Lord's wrath was upon them for what they had done in the first place. Point blank. But that was part of sin. But that's why we need salvation right there. Because one day when the Lord returns, he will bring back the house of Judah with the house of Israel. And we will not bump heads no more. Once he returns, we're going to love each other as a nation, as brother. And we're going to destroy these other nations together. And we're going to put these other nations in slavery in the future. We're going to read that. But I'm reading the history what happened between the split between the house of Judah and the house of Israel. Because if the house of Israel did that out of rage, and for that point on, the house of Judah hated. They didn't want nothing to do with the house of Ephraim, which is the house of Israel, because Ephraim ruled the 10 tribes. They hated the northern kingdom with all their heart, with all their soul right there. Anybody would be the same way. Now, I'm going to go to the next. I'm going to go a little farther. Now, let's go to the book of 2 Kings chapter 17 right quick. Now, what the Lord did at the house of Israel did that, committed that great sin right there. Let's find out what the Lord did. So let's go to the book of 2 Kings chapter 17, and we're going to read verse 18 to 23. So let's go back to 2 Kings chapter 17 and verse 18 to 23. You don't see other nations doing this to each other, man. I mean, I know every nation's got their own problems with their people, but you don't see the other nations hate each other the way we hate each other as Israelites, man. And that's why the Lord made a law. He said, love your brother with all your heart. And when he mean that, he talk about the Israelites within our own nation. But these cats want to be slick, talk about, oh, he talk about the other nations, your neighbors. No, he did not, dipshit. He was talking about your own people, the Israelites. If y'all can't see that we the only nation in the world hate each other, much as black on black crime, we kill each other. Then top of that, though, we dissing our women for these white girls and sisters doing the same thing, locking each other up in jail so we get a little bit of power and position. If y'all can't see that the Lord was talking about Israel was talking loving each other as a nation, y'all elders need to go sit your asses down and go back and read your laws again. Because the Lord never sent you. You ran your own free will as he had warned us in the book of Jeremiah. So I'm going to go to 2 Kings chapter 17 and verse 18. And I'm going to give y'all a little warning. If y'all watch my channels, include y'all elders, if y'all don't like it, don't put dislike. Just get on my channel. That's all you have to do. That's what I do. Y'all teach some of the things the Bible don't say. I don't put dislike or nothing. I just leave. And I ask y'all for that same respect. If y'all can't do that, y'all a bunch of jackasses. But like I said, I'm going based on what the scriptures say. And I'm cutting a lot of lies that was not been taught in these camps. Now, I'm not hating on my elders. I love my elders. Sometimes you got to tear down so you can build your brother up. You know what I'm saying? And so that way you can help them. But if they refuse to be humble, then that's on them. So I'm going to go to 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 18 to 23. I ain't got that much time. And I have to read the next few chapters in part 6. 2 Kings chapter 17 and verse 18 through 23. It says, therefore the Lord was very angry with Israel, which is the house of Israel, and had removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Judah only. And also Judah kept not the commandments of the Lord, their God, but and walked in the statutes of Israel which they had made. Now he just tell you what happened right there. And the Lord rejected all the seed of Israel and inflicted them and delivered them into the hands of the spoil, and had cast them out of his sight. Now he did not, cast all of Judah, because you go to the book of Hosea, because he said he had mercy on the house of Judah, but he did not have mercy on the house of Israel. And we're going to find out why he didn't have mercy on the house of Israel if we get to the next part. In one of my next parts. Because I got a lot of lessons and hundreds of scriptures I want to get out and what's not been taught in these camps. And Judah kept, okay, let me read, verse 20. And the Lord rejected all the seed of Israel, inflict them, and deliver into the hand of spoilers until he had cast them out of sight. Because remember, the Lord used the Assyrians to take out the 10 tribes, and Babylonian, he used it against the house of Judah. And for he rent Israel from the house of David, and they made Jeroboam the son of Nadab king. And Jeroboam drove Israel from father of the Lord, and made them sin a great sin. We're going to find out what sin he sinned a great sin. We're going to find out what he did in the next part. And for the children of Israel walked all the sins of Jeroboam which he did, and they departed not from them, until the Lord removed Israel out of his sight, as he said by all his servants the prophets. So was Israel carried away out in their own land to the Assyria unto this day. Because when you go to, I think, somewhere in 2 Kings 17, the Syrians had took out the 10 tribes. And also Hosea tell you that. So I'm going to explain the rest of it in part 6. So please watch this part and watch part 6. Shalom.